evening and thanks for joining us on tonight's edition of the newscast, which is the last for this week. Let's begin with our top stories. Cameroon's National Youth Council president still very much occupies her function, contrary to fake information that has been circulating concerning her dismissal. Get the full information or the true information in tonight's newscast. Also get the market situation of Mackerel fish in our markets today, as the one-time available and affordable food item is today one that can be said to be for the fortunate and more or less wealthy people. And finally, Cameroonians have not stopped pouring in reactions regarding the re-election of Cameroon's National Senate president as well as the Speaker of National Assembly yesterday in Yaoundé. Get reactions of Cameroonians about this story as well as other stories in tonight's newscast. Details in a moment. Good evening once again, dear televiewers, and thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of the newscast on DBS television with me, Cynthia Nguemo. To begin with the news, some fake information has been circulating insinuating that the national president of Cameroon's Youth Council has been relieved of her functions. Our reporter Ate Bonaventure, after doing some findings, discovered that it is fake news or fake information. Here is his report.
Going by this press release, signed on March 17, 2021, the Executive Bureau of the Cameroon National Youth Council has been dissolved. The said decision implies that the president has no right to take any action on behalf of the institution. This information, according to the CNYC officials, is simply fake news. This meeting that is chaired by the president of the Youth Council, Fatimatu Iyawa, is taking place with the support of the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education.
The objective of this meeting is a consultative forum between the executive members of the National Executive Bureau and the regional presidents. It is aimed at addressing some very key fundamental issues that have been plaguing the Cameroon National Youth Council.
The come together of these youth representatives is coming at the end of their leaders' mandate, and it is also in prelude to an upcoming General Assembly.
With the Speaker of the National Assembly known as well as the President of the Senate following their re-elections yesterday, Cameroonians have been reacting. In the following report, Mange Venasius shares with us some of these reactions, notably from media outlets in Cameroon. His report.
News of the election of the President of the Senate, Nyat Ndifenji, and Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Kavaye Yege Jibril, on the 18th of March 2021 did not come as a surprise to many. Two personalities whose names have been attached to this post for over 29 years for Kavaye Yege Jibril and since 2013 for Nyat Ndifenji. From the reaction gotten from newspapers, Cameroon Tribune captioned that Nyat and Kavaye re-elected as these personalities respectively returned their positions as President of the Senate and Speaker of the National Assembly. To the Guardian Post newspaper, Biya maintains ailing Nyat and Kavaye in Senate and National Assembly, institutions which Emergence newspaper said leaders are the same people. Leaders whose election wasn't a surprise, as Info Matin newspaper said. Reactions gotten from social media portray a mixture from those mocking at them to those who consider the appointment as being punitive. Others qualify them as the future of Cameroon, while to others thus simply demonstrate how much we intend to progress in this country in the years ahead. To others, they question the productivity as lawmakers pour new wines into old wineskins. The two personalities, 86-year-old Nyat Ndifenji and 81-year-old Kavaye Yege Jibril, were elected unopposed by lawmakers in the two chambers, even though opposition parties are present.
After Kavayege Jibril, the Honorable was re-elected as Speaker of Cameroon's National Assembly. MPs from the opposition party have been expressing the wish for key issues to be put on the table for discussion. Honorable Cabral Libi and Kupit Adamu spoke to our correspondent in the town of Yaoundé. Here are their reactions.
And I hope that during this year, we will work better than the past year because in the past year, because of the COVID context, it has been difficult for us to gather and to work together to discuss, to decide, to discuss before decision.
Politically, we are waiting for the reform of electoral system. And then socially, we are waiting for the opening of debate in Anglophone crisis in our parliament. The second problem is the problem of the deliverance of ID card in our society. We are asking for special sitting during this session for the problem of ID cards.
Now we take you to the market where mackerel fish, which was once one of the most affordable and available for the average Cameroonian, has become quite expensive and scarce in the market. Our reporters visited the Dakar market, which is in the Douala 3 subdivision, to see the situation for themselves. And here is the report with Mariam Fuju.
The scarcity of mackerel fish have become a real issue in our local Cameroonian market since a few months. The prices can be observed surging from about 1,200 francs to 1,350 francs for each kilogram as seen in this fish shop. Various reasons could explain this scarcity, notably the closure of borders due to the widespread of the coronavirus pandemic, according to some traders. Mackerel, the most loved fish for a local population, has considerably decreased in markets, and sellers have been complaining about this problem, as it's the case for this lady who's just from buying fish.
We are tired of this situation. There is no fish in the market and they are just expensive. Because of this, we buy fish and do not make profits out of it. Like yesterday, I bought fish for 60,000 francs and sold only 35,000 francs. No profit, and clients refuse to understand. They complain that the fishes are too expensive.
As the sellers complain about making no profits, so do buyers. The prices and quality of the fish are the two main problems observed.
Prices are increased and they remain high, even when the fishes get back down prices. The mackerel fish that we are being sold is of poor quality. We are waiting for good mackerel. We even strike over this, but nothing still.
Mackerel issue is becoming a real problem and the population is calling for the government concern. As the newspaper Mutation reported, the scarcity of mackerel is gradually unemploying the sellers involved in this sector. This is the case of this seller who is complaining about the poor quality, prices surging, and the unemployment situation it got her into.
In this sad news story, populations of Mile 1 in the town of Limbe, that is in the southwest region of Cameroon, have this morning witnessed a deadly accident that reportedly claimed at least 3 lives at the time it occurred. The accident involves a truck transporting cement which had a brakes failure leading to the accident, according to observers. The population of Mile 1 came out in their numbers to see for themselves, while several victims and injured persons were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Amongst the injured is the driver of the truck, who survived and is also receiving treatment. Though there are at least 3 deaths, several injured, and huge material damage, it is believed that casualties could be greater than what is reported, though authorities have not made any comment yet. Over in the south region of Cameroon, the Loconja subdivision has on its turn received the SDO for the Ocean Division while he continues his contact tour across his areas of command following his recent installation. Nuhu Bello visited this locality recently where he took stock of their rich natural and agricultural resources from palm to banana plantations and exploitation, as well as animal rearing in the company of the mayor and other subdivisional administrators. After listening to the concerns of the Loconja population, amongst which are insecurity, the SDO addressed their situation and gave them the way forward. Now listen to him speak in the following excerpt gotten by our South Regional correspondent, Simplice Boning.
I want to thank allies, chiefs, and all forces of this division of Loconja for what they have done. We observe that living together, it is a reality in this division. We asked all big men, all personalities, all chief traditional rulers to promote living together. As far as the economic aspect is concerned, we ask youths to do their best to create some crops plantations because we have a lot of disposition here we can benefit from. We find here a lot of companies who have created a lot of employment. These companies should be encouraged by having good relations with population through the areas where they live.
Now on the obituary page, it is a sad note as Edmond Felix Etundi, board chair of Finex Voyage Travel Agency, has died from health complications after spending days in a coma. The 54-year-old businessman and entrepreneur passed away on the night of Thursday, March 18, breaking the 19th in a hospital in Douala. His family, friends and collaborators are still in shock with the news of his demise. Edmond Felix Etundi began his Finex Interurban Transport Agency in 1991 in a clandestine manner, but over the years succeeded to build the company to become one of the most prominent in interurban transport between Douala and Yaoundé, as well as in car rental services known in Cameroon. Now we move on to news out of Cameroon, beginning from Tanzania, where the Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been installed as the new president of the country following the death of the president, who is John Magufuli. She is intended to finish the 5-year term of the deceased president. And in Congo Brazzaville, presidential elections are expected or set to take place this Sunday, March 21, 2021. In this election, President Denis Sassou Nguesso is seeking a 4th term. Details of this in the Africa Roundup page with Rogea Tububa.
Tanzanian Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan have been sworn in as the East African country's first female president after the sudden death of John Magufuli from heart failure. She took an oath of office and promised to be honest, obey, and protect the Constitution of Tanzania before dignitaries at a ceremony. The inauguration was witnessed by members of the cabinet and Tanzania's former president. According to the terms of the Constitution, Hassan will serve the remainder of Magufuli's second 5-year term, which will expire in 2025. The Constitution also states that after consultation with their party, the new president will propose a deputy, the choice to be confirmed by the vote of no fewer than 50% of the National Assembly. In her first public address, she announced 21 days of mourning for Magufuli and public holidays on March 22nd and on his burial day, which will be on March 25th. Presidential elections will be held on Sunday, March 21st in Congo-Brazzaville. Members of civil society have expressed serious reservations about the transparency of the election. In the election, only the candidate who obtains an absolute majority of valid votes is elected. The Defense and Security Forces voted on March 17, enabling them to be deployed on polling day 4 days later. It is the first time that the Republic of Congo has adopted a two-phase ballot since introduced multi-party elections in 1992. 77-year-old President Denis Sassou Nguesso of Congo-Brazzaville has been in office for 31 years and is seeking re-election on Sunday for a fourth term. He says he can guarantee peace and development in Congo. The climate seems less heavy than 5 years ago when the country had its last presidential election.
That was it for this Friday edition of the news on DBS television. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and we invite you to stay on DBS TV and enjoy the weekend. Until we meet on Monday, good night. See you on Monday. God willing.